अपना टैलेंट कहीं बाहर नहीं, अपनी कंट्री के हिंद
सलूट है, इंडियन पीपल्स को सलूट है। तो दोस्तों दोबारा किसी और वीडियो के साथ आप लोगों से मुलाकात होगी। जब तक के लिए अस्सलाम वालेकुम दोस्तों, नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल। कैसे हैं? उम्मीद करता हूँ ठीक होंगे, खुश होंगे। दोस्तों अपना ख्याल रखिए, मास्क का इस्तेमाल कीजिए और एक दूसरे के दरमियान में सोशल डिस्टेंस रखिए। अल्लाह पाक इंडिया से इस बीमारी का खात्मा करे। सुना है बहुत बुरे हालात हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा क्या कंडीशन है? क्रिटिकल कंडीशन है। अल्लाह पाक सबको।
आप मुझे एक्स्ट्रा चार्जेस दिया करें इसके मैं आपको इंग्लिश
माय टीचर। तो दोस्तों आज की वीडियो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है, बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त है।
इंडिया इज़ बिकमिंग इट्स ऑन सिलिकॉन वैली।
तो देखते हैं किस तरह से
एचपीओ की वीडियो है शायद। ये स्टार्ट करते हैं हम इस वीडियो का टाइटल यही था, इंडिया इज बिकमिंग इट्स ऑन। हमें सजेस्ट की थी।
Good morning all. So what is telemarketing? Selling products over telephone. Social graces. What are social graces? Good morning. Thank you. You want to do the inbound call opening? You say?
My name is Sayyid. I'm calling behalf of Elika.
I'm calling you on behalf of Elika.
My name is
डॉक्यूमेंट्री शायद मेरे ख्याल में।
How may I help you?
Good morning. Welcome to Dr. Wellness. My name is Krishna. How may I help you?
Perfect.
This is a call center in Bangalore. Call centers were among the first outsourced tech companies to appear in India. And they're still here.
Good morning. This is Krishna. How may I help you?
इंग्लिश सिखाई जा रही होती है।
The location of BMW in Bangalore.
नहीं, कॉल सेंटर
Call center work has been outsourced from America to India for decades. But this call center is different.
Hello?
Because many of their clients are actually Indian.
When we actually looked at the growth of India, there were a lot of domestic companies that were actually, growing.
You decided to do just the domestic market, just companies that are in India.
Correct. And that actually did wonders.
The fact that Transact Global has found success by serving largely its own market is an indication of just how far the market has come. India's IT sector has evolved so far out of its call center beginnings that it's now a $150 billion industry.
This is the corporate headquarters of Emphasis, one of the biggest IT services firms in all of Bangalore. Why did India emerge, and Bangalore specifically, as sort of the site for this kind of growth?
We've always had in India a fairly large STEM population, right? We've had a history of mathematics and science and engineering and medicine. Back in the 80s, IBM was launching the PC, Microsoft was launching the desktop operating system, and computers were going mainstream. So there was an opportunity for the Indian talent to be taken to where the work was, which is the United States. As telecom infrastructure became more stable, that led to this development of the offshore services. That provided a much faster way to write software, because if you can do it pretty much 24 hours a day. And then came Y2K.
What was the problem with Y2K that India had to face?
The problem was the Western world had written programs that couldn't handle 0, at the end. How do you make sure that the computers don't fail when they come across a 0?
And that's the year 2000.
That's the year 2000.
Some members of Congress are worried that the computer glitch will lead to dangerous problems on the world's infrastructure.
हाँ, ऐसा सुनने में आ रहा था कि 2000 में कंप्यूटर सारे फेल हो जाएंगे।
बूम टाइम इन इंडिया।
And do it in a way that you can actually afford. And over the last 25 years, this has kind of become a massive hub for global companies to build software that essentially runs the world.
Indian tech workers are a worldwide phenomenon, with 850,000 entering the global workforce every year. A primary source for this talent are the country's 23 Indian institutes of technology. They're among the most competitive engineering schools in the world.
The IITs was set up in the 50s as institutions for engineering education and research, modeled after MIT and Cambridge and other things.
So this is India's sort of best and brightest engineers.
People get in here, and after they finish their undergraduate, they're sought after by all kinds of companies, Google, Facebook, the banks.
What are the most sort of popular or more competitive programs?
Computer science.
Computer science सबसे ज़्यादा प्रोग्राम है।
वो कर रहे हैं, ज़्यादा पसंद करते हैं या एडमिशन वहाँ ज़्यादा होता है। साइकिलो
हाँ, वो देखने चेक कर रहा था कंप्यूटर साइंस की क्लास में। देखें आप बॉयज़।
यहाँ पे सारे ही मतलब यंग लोग बैठे हैं जो
स्टूडेंट्स हैं ना।
on the entrance exam. Right?
Professor.
So even better than
Department
everyone
of
at
Computer
IIT,
Science.
these are the kids who are the best of the best.
Yes.
What is it like teaching them?
Very exciting.
Do you think one of these kids is going to like maybe do something?
Not one.
Many.
But it seems for some of these kids, their dream is no longer to work in the US. Instead, they'd prefer to innovate right here in India.
Innovation.
There is an inherent sense of wanting to contribute to India's GDP. And there's a lot of emphasis on entrepreneurship and starting on your own.
This push towards entrepreneurship has become the primary focus, as basic software engineering skills are no longer enough. In response to this shifting landscape, a number of startup incubators have sprung up to nurture creative ideas out of mathematically built minds.
Science and technology are the backbone of Indian education. But if you want to go from a back-end coder to a front office visionary, you got to learn how to sell. So I've come to an incubator for startups called Commencement, which coaches would-be disruptors in the art of the pitch. How important is the pitch?
Pitch is the moment of truth. Just having an engineering degree is not enough. If we are going to build the business builders and the job creators of tomorrow, they have to think about the world as a market.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon to you both. We are coming from a company called Oshio Water.
Fix my gadgets.
Native bag, change pay.
A lot of gadgets are getting introduced to India.
Okay.
So how we are creating basically a customer convenience through this web portal.
We'll just go through a video walkthrough where you can understand how to pay using change pay.
Welcome to Paradise Hotel.
I would like to stay here for 2 days. Sorry, I don't have money. Do you accept change pay?
Yes.
I will have to work on that.
You do this all the time, right?
Right.
What is sort of common about the sort of shortcomings of how people tend to pitch ideas like this?
Yeah, I think it's the big one is how do you tell a story? This is what you get from people who know too much. They've been an expert in delivering projects, making products in a very corporate environment. But I think we have to also come up with a solid business model which is innovative.
Hello. I'm from Music Money Labs. I'm Gopal. We are a music technology company that teaches, scales music education. It works very simply. I mean, you just put it in front of you and you start singing. And it tells you if your frequency is off or if you're off the beat. We show you detailed breakdown of how can you improve and you can track your progress over time. In India, you have so much diversity in music. And my motivation is to build a digital infrastructure for the Indian heritage.
This is cool because it's sort of like very culturally Indian things becoming potentially like a globally useful product.
But also, it takes a non-music person to figure out a new way
to do music. Yeah, right.
It didn't take a very social Zuckerberg to figure out the social network.
Right, exactly.
He's got the stars in his eyes, as you can see.
For many of these would-be entrepreneurs, the hope is to one day join the fast-growing list of Silicon Valley-sized success stories, who make up much of India's nascent venture capitalist culture.
I'm at a golf club in Mumbai, and I am playing around with one of the top VCs in the country. He's been named one of the 50 most influential business people in all of India, and he's funded some of the most successful online ventures that this country's ever seen. So what was your big, first success back in India? Nice. Good job.
I was sitting in my office, met one of these sort of fellows who does the traditional matchmaking.
Like arranged marriages?
Yeah, it occurred to me that why not put this stuff up on the internet? And so that idea was born and we started out with Shaadi.com. There you go.
What were the next investments that you made?
About 2011, I met a young guy called Bhavish, and he was looking at raising some capital for an on-demand cab service through your app. And so I wrote him a check in 2011, and today, of course, the company is worth close to $5 billion.
Wow. Would you say that the tech scene in India is at an inflection point in any fashion?
Indians have tasted blood, and given the cultural advantages that India has in many ways, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Indians will drive the coming tech revolution. You're already seeing it.
As India's tech sector grows more sophisticated, its entrepreneurs are becoming more ambitious, driving development aimed at saving our lives and the environment.
Oh, wow. I'm in an operating room.
Yes.
Oh, I can actually see my arm. Oh no, it's brown because we're in India.
Yes.
That's great.
You can do the complete advanced cardiac life support protocol, and you really feel that you're doing it.
Oh, well, oh my God. That's a thing. That's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing. While many technology companies here are focused on serving the world's economy, I've come to the garage of AltiGreen, a startup that's trying to take a hands-on approach at solving some of India's problems.
In India, there are 1.2 million people dying early every year because of poor air quality.
So what do you guys do?
We allow people to take their existing vehicle, bring it into our place, convert it into a hybrid at $1,000, saving 25% in fuel and 25% in emissions.
Sure. I mean, are you trying to compete with like a Tesla?
No. Tesla is still selling $100,000 cars. That doesn't work for India. What we're doing here is we're democratizing the use of electric technology.
Amazing. Entrepreneurship is exploding here, with over 5,000 verified startups currently operating nationwide. Projections are so good, in fact, that the blue-chip prospects who originally left India to succeed in America are beginning to return. I understand that most of you guys studied in the US or lived in the US at some point, and so, like, why did you come back?
Look at populations in India, right? You're building something that could potentially be used by 1 billion people, and it's a lot like the Wild West. The rules are being made.
Bangalore is very, very cosmopolitan now. There are people from not just all over India, people from all over the world, people who've lived abroad and come back.
I had a job offer interest from Google New York, but I met some really nice people in Bangalore that time, and I thought that why not give it a shot.
So you gave up working at Google to come back and do a startup. Given sort of the increasing amount of like anti-immigrant feelings in the United States, did that contribute to your decision to move here?
You know, Trump coming to power has not been good for anybody. And I think that is sort of forcing the growth.
Well, guys, to Bangalore, to coming home, to making something happen. To many, the future of technology doesn't lie in Silicon Valley, but in places like Bangalore. Recent evidence suggests that this is already happening, as emerging economies like India's make up almost 60% of global GDP, according to the IMF.
Opportunities abound. Software, where all the value addition lies, is now our calling card as a country.
Bangalore is a city primed to emerge as a global leader in tech, with its nation's investment in education and innovation paving the way for a potential overthrow of Silicon Valley as the center of the tech universe. You think Bangalore would ever overtake Silicon Valley as a center of engineering production?
Could. What Bangalore's got going for it is the scale of India. It's like 1 billion people, right?
Yeah.
So even if you got like 1 out of 2,000 being engineers,
right,
you got a large population to pick from.
Yeah.
While the US and Europe continue to be the leading spenders, the center of gravity of the global economy is seen to be moving east.
How did you guys found companies?
When I was 10 years old, I was very curious in electronics and technology, so I developed a drone which can detect and destroy landmines.
Cool.
Consequently, Asia will account for at least 25% of global ER&D spend before the turn of this decade. And that defines the age that we live in. And I want to congratulate all of you who have made this possible. The fastest growing segment in the entire IT BPM industry.
तो जी दोस्तों, कैसी लगी आपको ये वीडियो? इंडिया टेक्नोलॉजी के हवाले से कहाँ खड़ा है, क्या देखती हो आप?
मेरे हिसाब से तो बहुत आगे। मुझे लगता है किसी का भी कोई कंपैरिजन नहीं है उससे।
अच्छा, ये
उसके अलावा
प्रॉपर एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनाई,
इंटरव्यूज़ लिए, देखे अंडर ग्रेजुएट, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट्स, उनको देखा, और इन्होंने देखा कि सबसे ज़्यादा जो मतलब स्टूडेंट्स वगैरह हैं, जो इनकी जनरेशन है ना, उनका दिमाग या उनका रुझान सबसे ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट जो है वो साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में, जो कि बैकबोन होती है, किसी भी कंट्री की बैकबोन होती है। तो वो इतना ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट अभी मतलब दिखा रहे हैं, और इसकी वजह से ही वो इतना ही कामयाब है।
आने वाला फ्यूचर जो है इंडिया का इस टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से, साइंस, कंप्यूटर साइंस टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से बहुत ब्राइट। और ये लोग
और अभी भी है और आगे मज़ीद होगा।
ये लोग इतनी ज़्यादा तवज्जो दे रहे हैं साइंस पर, कंप्यूटर साइंस पर।
हर चीज़ को इनोवेट कर रहे हैं, हर चीज़ के अंदर मतलब इनोवेशन करना, हर चीज़ को वो करना बहुत बड़ी बात होती है,
यानी
कमाल
कह
है।
सकते हैं कि आने वाले 10 से 15 साल में इंडिया किसी भी कंट्री को टक्कर दे रहा होगा,
किसी
मतलब
भी
या तो
पावरफुल से पावरफुल कंट्री को टक्कर दे सकता
इस
है
मैदान में, इस
टेक्नोलॉजी के हवाले से। हाँ,
मैदान में मतलब इतनी ज़्यादा मतलब है कि तरक्की और
बाहर से मतलब उनके जो ग्रेजुएट्स होते हैं उनको बाहर से मतलब ऑफर्स होती हैं, मतलब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ होती हैं, लेकिन फिर भी वो घर में मतलब अपनी जितनी भी स्टडीज़ है उनको यूटिलाइज करके मतलब अपने ही कंट्री के अंदर ही रहना चाहते हैं, करते हैं, इनोवेट करते हैं
और बाकायदा दूसरे कंट्रीज़ में जाकर मज़ीद वो मालूमात लेके अपनी कंट्रीज़ में आते हैं और बाकायदा यहाँ पर लोग
अच्छा, कितनी बड़ी बात है ना, कितनी बड़ी बात है कि मुझे अगर फॉर सपोज यूएस से ऑफर आ जाए तो मैं पाकिस्तान में काम बिल्कुल नहीं करूँगी। मैं तो पहली फुर्सत में कहूँगी कि हाँ जी मुझे यूएस जाना है, मेरी जॉब यूएस में हो जाए। बहुत बड़ी क्रेज़ होता है लोगों को तो, लेकिन कितनी बड़ी बात है।
लेकिन ये होता है कि कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि जिनकी सारी ज़रूरियात पूरी हो चुकी होते हैं, तो फिर उनको कहते हैं कि हमें अपने कंट्री में
हमारे लिए सबसे बढ़कर हमारा कंट्री है,
क्योंकि उनकी ज़रूरियात सब कुछ कंप्लीट है, उन्होंने एक अच्छी लाइफ गुजार रहे हैं और मज़ीद अच्छी से अच्छी लाइफ गुजार के क्या मिलेगा। लेकिन अपने कंट्री में जो सुकून है या जो मतलब एक फीलिंग होती है।
लेकिन मैं आपकी बात से यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा डिसएग्री करूँगी, मतलब मोर टू मोर की तो कोई लिमिट ही नहीं। हाँ वो तो है ना, अब इंसान सेटिस्फाइड नहीं होता जल्दी,
लेकिन इंसान कमाता है सुकून के लिए, लेकिन जब उसकी लग्जरी लाइफ हो चुकी है तो उसको मजीद
मतलब आप कहना चाह रहे हैं वो जब स्टेबल हो जाए तो उसके बाद उसको मजीद आगे बढ़ने का नहीं सोचना चाहिए।
बिल्कुल सोचना चाहिए, अपने आने वाली नस्लों के लिए सोचना चाहिए, लेकिन एक शख्स की एक लिमिट होती है कि हाँ भाई मैं यहाँ तक तो हूँ और मजीद मुझे मिल भी रहा है, यहाँ पर भी मिल रहा है और वहाँ पर मजीद भी मिलेगा, तो वो कहता है कि यार बेहतर है कि अपनी कंट्री में, क्योंकि अपनी कंट्री में से पढ़ा है, अपनी कंट्री से लिया है, तो
अपनी कंट्री को ही दो। एग्जैक्टली, अपनी कंट्री को आगे बढ़ाओ, हम कहीं और जाकर क्यों, अपनी कंट्री को ही मज़ीद आगे बढ़ाएं।
दोस्तों बहुत ही ज़्यादा मतलब है कि हमारी आंखें खुल दी इस वीडियो ने,
बिल्कुल
कि कहाँ इंडिया
मैंने आपको बताया इस पॉइंट पे तो मैं बहुत हैरान हुई। बिल्कुल
ज़बरदस्त,
ये मतलब अपनी स्किल्स अपनी कंट्री को ही देना चाहते हैं, अपना टैलेंट कहीं बाहर नहीं, अपनी कंट्री के अंदर।
सलूट है, इंडियन पीपल्स को सलूट है। तो दोस्तों दोबारा किसी और वीडियो के साथ आप लोगों से मुलाकात होगी, जब तक के लिए
एक सेकंड पहले
क्या हो गया, ऐसे नहीं करो, ऐसे नहीं करो जी। दोस्तों दोबारा किसी और वीडियो के साथ आप लोगों से मुलाकात होगी, जब तक के लिए
अल्लाह हाफिज़।